zoomed in. Hold up. Very close. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Allegedly Adults. This is episode 7. Count them up. Count them up.
Seven.
7. I am Steven, and joining me as always is my homie, the man with the, what kind of hat is it? Carhartt
We
hat?
got we got the Carhartt. We got the
Oh,
Carhartt on today,
Timberland.
boys.
Timberland. I
Or
see,
the
I see, I
Timberland.
see.
Yeah, the Timberland hat. What am I talking about?
And the Jalen Duren jersey. That is Jordan, ladies
Yes,
and
sir.
gentlemen. Y'all know who that is. Jordan,
Best
what's
Jordan
going
not
on?
named Michael. What's up, people? How we doing?
Right, because you got Michael Jordan, you got Michael B. Jordan. So, I mean, shit.
I could take third.
All right, what are we talking about today, bro?
We actually have a lot. First off, I want to apologize to anybody that notices a little bit of a difference. My wonderful fiance is on her bachelorette trip right now with some friends, and I record on her laptop. So today I'm on my phone. Hope it doesn't throw anything off too much. But we are going to get into some UFC stuff today, and then we're also going to touch on some stuff that's going on around the league. I wanted to start with the UFC though, because our boy
Can I say his
is
name?
going to be. Go ahead.
Israel Adesanya. Adesanya.
Last Stylebender is going to be trying to get that belt back from Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 305 on August 17th. And that's our boy, man. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it.
That's my guy, man. I should have put the picture up in the background.
We should have.
You
We
know,
should
we'll
have. We
save
should
it.
have put our pictures in the back.
We'll save it for the victory episode. But yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Izzy's fighting Dricus finally. Dricus is currently the champ. I will say though, I know you said he's trying to get his belt back. It seems like Izzy isn't really too concerned about that championship, bro. From what I hear, he's coming for heads.
Well, he can come for heads all he wants, but if he wins the fight, he gets the belt. So, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so Dricus hasn't fought since January and didn't wasn't like a dominant victory against Strickland, which I guess you could argue, Strickland had a dominant victory versus Izzy back when he beat him for the belt, but hasn't fought since January. I mean, 6, 7 month layoff for a champ really isn't that much of a layoff, but I mean, I don't like to speculate, man, but I think Izzy's gonna come out and take this dude's head off. I really do.
I believe. I believe he's going to put on a master class. Going to remind a lot of
Absolutely.
people who he is. He's going to show people who he is and why he's one of the greatest of all time in the middleweight division, if not the greatest of all time in the middleweight division.
I mean, it's him and Anderson Silva. Those are the two goats. And honestly, like, and I'm not even trying to be controversial because all respect to Anderson Silva, he's a freaking legend. And if you want to say he's the GOAT, that's fine. But I really think it just comes down to preference. Like, it's really just a bias thing at the end of the day. Izzy's defended his belt so many times. He was one of the most, if not the most active champion for his reign. Anderson Silva had a bunch of title defenses too. He was a super fun fighter to watch, unless, aside from a couple of fights, which you could say that about Izzy too, because there was the Yoel Romero fight where they were just kind of bouncing around the whole time. I mean, the Jared Cannonier fight wasn't the most exciting. Um,
The best part
but
though
man, Izzy,
was that walkout.
oh, that walkout, that was the urn, right?
That was legendary. The Undertaker
Yes,
walkout
sir.
had his name on the urn, and yeah, amazing.
But Izzy's just too great of a fighter and a champion and a warrior to not get his belt back, even though that's not what he's going for. He's going for heads. But
So,
nope.
how do you feel about Dricus making the claims over the years that, or I guess not over the years, but especially now that he is the one true African champion of the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, it's uh, off the top of my head, I can only think of like five other ones. Um, there's Francis Ngannou and Kamaru Usman, and those are two that jump out really. Arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time and one of the best welterweights of all time, and then somebody that sounds like he's from Australia comes in and claims he's the only true African champion. So you know what? Nah, yeah, go ahead. Take DDP, the true African champion, coming from somebody who's never even been to Africa. So not him. Not I mean me. Not him. Not him. I know where he's from. I know where he's from. But that I hate. I know you say. I know you hate when I say I hate people. I cannot stand this dude. This dude. Oh my God, he's one of, if not the most cringiest, annoying fighters out there. I just cannot stand him. I hope Izzy comes out and knocks his lights out at the 4 minute and 59 second mark of the final round. I want him to beat the brakes off of him for 24 minutes and like 58 seconds, and then I want him to just put him on the mat. Like I'm done with Dricus.
Man, it's gonna be a crazy fight. It's gonna be a crazy fight. What did you see the press conference that they had? I think it was last week.
I I did not. I did not.
Did you at least see the face off, the stare down?
Mm-mm. No, I
Bro,
didn't.
they were locked eyes for a good like minute and a half. Like at the stare down, when they were doing the stare down, literally locked eyes for a good minute and a half straight. Like no BS. Just
Damn.
locked. Both of them just locked. So that
It's
was
gonna be a it's gonna be a fun fight. Like
mhm.
there's just no way that it's not. You have to assume that Izzy knows, like, okay, I can't just come out and point fight this dude. Like I gotta win. If he's coming for heads, but yeah, I think there's just no way that this isn't a good fight.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. That is what, August 17th, right?
August
August
17th,
17th.
UFC
Yep.
305.
Yep.
Um,
There we go.
and speaking of Dricus, I said that he hasn't fought since January, and I'm not, I don't know if I would call it like a sense of entitlement, but I'm not super in love with this whole like, I won the belt, so now I'm just gonna fight once a year or maybe twice a year, like, 9, 10, 11 months in between fights. I I can't stand that. I don't like, have you noticed that lately with the UFC?
In general, yeah. I think in Dricus's case though, wasn't he injured? Or didn't he get injured
No, he
after?
was injured, but it was just more of
But
like a man. I
yeah, it's definitely you don't see champions fighting as often, or even just stars in general fighting as often.
You really don't. And it's like I get that the UFC wants to build the fight up more, sell more, make more money and whatever, but I'm just all right, so I listed them all out. So I got every single champion written down. I'm gonna go through them real quick. John Jones fought in March of 2023 to win his belt. So that's a year and 4 months. Granted, there was an injury, so can't really say too much about that. Tom Aspinall, not really his fault either, because Jones is kind of holding that division hostage right now. But he is scheduled to fight Curtis Blades, and he won his belt, not too long ago, so that's fine. Alex Pereira, clearly the most active champ since Izzy. I mean, can't
Yes.
say anything about that dude. Leon
Since
Edwards.
Volk too. Don't forget Volk. Volk has
Oh,
been
I was
very
I was
active.
gonna get
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I was gonna get there. But Leon Edwards has fought twice since winning his belt 2 years ago. He fought Colby Covington and he rematched Kamaru Usman. He won that belt in like August or July of 2022, and he's fought twice. Islam Makhachev won his belt in October of 2022, has only fought one lightweight contender. He fought Volk. That fight needed to happen. But then he fought Volk again on 10 days' notice and then has fought Dustin Poirier. The dude, like, never fights. It's been 2 years. He's fought 3 times and fought once against somebody in his weight division. And it was somebody that, like, nobody thought Dustin was winning that fight. Like I love Dustin Poirier, and he was a freaking war. Like it was like as the fight went on, it was like, man, he might catch him. But I mean, let's
Yeah.
be real with ourselves. Like,
As like you said, as the fight was going on, there was a part of you that was like, oh, Dustin might be that guy to actually do it. Because it was looking like
mhm.
that for a minute, and then, the end happened, but that's the fight game.
So Ilia Topuria just he won his belt in February, and
Yeah,
it's
this
July
guy.
now, so 5 months. But he won that belt and immediately was just like, nah, I'm gonna pick who I fight next. I don't care. I'll hold out for somebody. And he could be fighting Max, but Max just fought. So I don't know when that's gonna happen. Sean O'Malley, my favorite fighter, has fought once since August of 2023 when he won his belt. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? And then Zhang won her belt in October, and she's usually a two fight a year type of fighter, anyways. But
Yeah.
like Leon, twice in 2 years. Islam, 3 fights in 2 years. Like, that's horrible. It's just sad. I don't get how the UFC can just let that happen. Like all these cards, like there's a reason that the cards aren't doing as well ratings wise. Like, yeah, I know the gates are crazy, but stars aren't fighting. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. It, especially as, newcomers to the sport or new fans, you want those big names to be on those events.
Yeah, you want to draw people to it. But I guess I digress a little bit on that, but it just I feel like we were spoiled with the Volks and the Izzies and the, even back to like the days of Conor and like we got fights. We were at least getting 3 a year,
Yeah,
not 3 in 2 years.
yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Conor, when do you think he will fight again?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna finish college in a few years. He might fight by then.
Because
Like,
man, he was supposed to fight in June against Chandler at 303, but he injured his toe and had to pull out, and that's when the audible was made for Alex Pereira, to defend his belt. But yeah, I wonder when Conor steps in again, because it's everybody is fiending for that Conor McGregor return, and everyone's eager to see how he's going to do, if he's going to be anything close to the Conor that people know, or if he's going to be better than the Conor that people know, or if it's just going to be time. You know what I mean?
man, is it time already though? Like, it's been it's been 4.5 years of this. Like it has been a long time.
It's been a while. It very well could be. Who knows?
And what's the point? Like, is he trying to win a belt again, or does he just want to fight?
I mean, it's
Is
like with
it
any
because it's not the money?
it's like with any sport though. It's for the love of the game.
But where's the love of the game been the last 4 or 5 years? Like, I
Who
I
knows? It
don't
might
know.
be
It's
back. Who knows,
and
bro? You
also it's probably more his matchup. Do you care about seeing Michael Chandler fight Conor McGregor? Like,
I I mean, I like that matchup just because Chandler's so wild and crazy and unpredictable that, anything can happen. And then you have Connor, who's supposed to be this calculated, precise fighter. So I like
yeah.
that matchup. So me personally, yeah, I want to see that fight.
I just don't. I mean, aside from it being a counter fight, I just don't see the draw with the Chandler matchup. That's just that's how I feel on it. And I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer about it. I want Connor to fight again. It's just, I don't want it
We
to
want
be
it
just like,
now.
yeah. And it's like, if this is going to keep happening, like, who's to say that this doesn't happen again? Like, it'll be something else next time we're about to get that fight in a month or whatever. So I don't know, man.
No, I hear you. I hear you because it's disappointing to be looking forward to something for so long and then, something always just comes up or something always gets in the way. It's very frustrating. And then especially when it's, a fighter that you followed for, well, how long you haven't been watching UFC long, have you? Can't remember.
I watched his last fight against Dustin. That was the first Conor fight that I watched like live. And I hate that. I hate that I wasn't a fan during those times. It wasn't that I wasn't a fan, it just I wasn't watching. Like I always kept up with it, but I wasn't watching fights. It
Mhm.
wasn't until my buddy I think it was like his maybe his 21st birthday and he's 25 now. Um and he brought me to a bar with some buddies and we were all watching the fights and that's I never missed a card after that. Well, I've missed a couple of like the Apex events and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, I've been watching religiously for about 4 years.
Gotcha. But yeah, it's frustrating to see a guy of Connor's caliber just, you know, be scheduled for an event and then that event not take place. It's as a fan, you hate to see it. Hopefully, we get that fight soon, and if all goes well, may or may not get some more Connor fights down the road. But it's just a matter of getting to that first fight back because that's everything right there. If he wins that fight, that can open the door for so much. That can open the door for a rematch with Diaz. That can open the door for a potential matchup with Islam. Like there's so many different routes he could go off that. But if he loses, then it's like, well, yeah.
I don't. He don't need to fight Islam. He can. Islam could keep that, bro.
Oh man.
Because he's fighting it. I think they're gonna fight at 170.
Chandler and but
And
didn't it
Connor.
but the thing is Islam has been talking for like the past year of going up to 170. So I mean,
Yeah, to fight the champ. He
you
ain't going up and fighting the number 8 guy.
but listen though, if he does that, so by the time Connor is ready to fight Islam, let's just say everything goes well, Islam will have that 170.
So okay, so you're saying that
You know what I
Islam beats
mean?
Leon Edwards?
So if that happens and Islam
Okay,
becomes
yeah,
champ, that the
yeah.
timing will align is what the point I'm trying to make.
And every fighter on the roster is gonna hate Conor McGregor's ass because he got to jump the whole line.
Well, yeah, that's just how things go, you know?
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you blaze the trail like Connor has blazed, you get to make the rules. Or you get a lot of say in the rules. Moving
But
on though.
yeah, I was about to say we don't even have a date for that fight yet. So
Right, so no need to worry about it. But moving on though,
yeah.
let's talk about another rumored fight out there. John Jones and Stipe, and that's
The
rumored for
greatest of all time, John Jones, is the greatest of all time. I don't care who you say it is, it's John Jones. I don't care about the whatever, the steroids or whatever. No, it's John Jones. John Jones is the GOAT, as
okay.
you were saying.
Hopefully we could see the GOAT at UFC 309 in November. Hopefully. But I don't know, man, because Jones
Here's
and
another one.
Stipe.
Like, been 4.5 years for John Jones too, aside from the Cyril fight that wasn't even a fight.
Yeah,
Um, do you care about this fight at this point?
not really. I mean,
I
if it
don't either.
happens, cool. But I think everybody expects the outcome that we're most likely going to get, and that's going to be a John Jones victory against Stipe.
It's like, what does that prove? What does that win do for John? I know what John Jones thinks it does for him, but Stipe is 41 years old. He hasn't fought in 3 years. His knees are gone. There's no cartilage left in his knees. He hasn't won a fight in 4 years. What does this do for John Jones? Like, it's a lose lose. Because if you win, it's like, yeah, you beat up an old man. And then if he loses, that's such a stain. Like, so Stipe just comes out of retirement after 3 years with no knees and beats your ass. Like, what is that? There's two big, really intriguing matchups for John Jones, and it's like he's just stuck on this Stipe thing.
Yeah. Like I would love to see him fight a guy like Tom Aspinall or even
Yes,
a
bro.
freaking beast in Alex Pereira. Like that's my thing is and I don't know UFC like that. I don't know the fight game like that. I'm just a casual UFC fan.
But bro, come
But
on,
if you're
bro.
gonna have this moniker as the GOAT, the greatest of all time, in any sport, in any profession, and you see a young, talented guy on the come up, wouldn't you want to be able to prove that not even they're better than you, or not even he's better
Yep,
than you? That's
exactly.
it. Like as a competitor, wouldn't you want that? Now, I get the flip side of, like I ain't got nothing else to prove. I get that, but like that GOAT moniker, I feel like that comes into play with that. Like you don't duck the smoke. Like you're ready for whatever's to come your way at any stage in your career.
And there's people out there saying that Alex could beat John Jones. I'm not gonna get into those talks. I'm not gonna be a part of that.
Whether he can or can't, we might not ever see because
But that's what I'm saying is like, bro, John, there are people out there that are saying that. And if you're the GOAT, like, no duck smoke, Pat. Don't do that. Like,
but that's the thing is like the flip side in John Jones' shoes, like I said, it's like what else is there to prove for me? You know?
then why are you fighting Stipe?
That's the last check on the list.
Aren't you trying to he's trying to prove that he can beat the greatest heavyweight of all time, but like is Stipe the greatest heavyweight of all time? Is he? Because I think you can throw Francis up there, and there's
Hmm.
probably somebody from 2004 that people would say that are hardcore fans. I'm sorry, I don't know, but it was like Randy Couture or something. I feel like people would say he's up there. Not Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was not. No, but yeah, like I don't want to see him fight Stipe. That
As,
boring ass old man fight. Like I don't want to see that.
yeah, as a fight fan, we want to see the guy who so many people proclaim as the greatest of all time go up
Mhm.
against one of these up and comers, one of these guys who are in their prime, looking to make history. And
Absolutely.
that's that's just how us fight fans see it. You know what I mean? That's what
It's
we
just a
want.
bigger draw. Like it's a bigger draw.
Exactly.
Much bigger draw for to get Alex Pereira or Tom Aspinall. Because Tom Aspinall, like, I'm not saying that I think that Tom Aspinall would beat him, but I think Tom Aspinall is a really good matchup for John Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just something fresh. Something it's something we haven't really have we gotten a matchup like that before?
No, not
And
because
and
like,
and if we have, please in the comments tell us who we're missing or forgetting. That way we can go educate ourselves. Because I don't have a problem with that. Please let us
well,
know.
Tom Aspinall is really quick. Like, I would say the only guy that, and Tom Aspinall is big too. Like, he's big. Um, like a guy like Alexander Gustafsson, different different styles. I'm not saying they're the same fighter, but that's the only one that comes to mind when I think of a matchup even close to Aspinall with Jones. Alex Pereira, nobody's ever fought like that. No,
Mhm.
nobody fights, has fought, or probably ever will fight like him again because he's just different. He just stomps forward, and stays in your face. What about? Let me bounce this idea off of you. Say John Jones and Stipe fight, and Jones is like, you know what? I'm gonna go after one of the young guys. What if you super fight Alex Pereira and Tom Aspinall winner gets John Jones.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm
I'd be
sure a
fine
lot
with
of
it too.
people would be fine with that too.
I think that's a big draw for one. You are gonna make so much money UFC if you do that. Like
Now, do you think Tom Aspinall would be cool with that? Because technically, isn't he interim champ?
he is interim champ,
So
and
it's
yes,
like,
if John was to beat Stipe, Aspinall is like he's next in line for sure.
it's so weird. That's such a weird situation
Because there is an active champ.
because Tom would be interim champ, but if John Jones beats Stipe, John wouldn't be champ. So it's almost like John would have
No,
to
yeah, he
wait,
would.
even though Tom's interim.
Yeah,
That's so
because he's the undisputed.
that's so weird.
It is weird, and it's only because it's John Jones. Like anybody else would have vacated the belt, and Aspinall would have just been the champ. And it's weird that Aspinall, like Jones and Stipe, are supposed to fight in like November. I think that's like the rumored date. Aspinall and Curtis Blades are fighting. So like, if Blades wins, is he the interim champ now? Like,
Yeah, I
it's
don't know.
just it's weird.
It's
It's
just a weird
really weird.
situation. And yeah, you're right. It's because John Jones. And I mean, rightfully so, I guess, because he's been
I
that
mean,
guy for
yeah.
so long.
I mean,
So
he's the
like
greatest of all time. So
in the UFC shoes, you're gonna do
makes
right
sense.
by him, regardless of all the outside noise and all that other stuff. But
Why do you think the Washington Wizards were on national TV in the early 2000s? Like
fair
some
enough.
dudes just they get that special treatment. He got Dana White privilege, as he should, by the way, because he's
All
the GOAT. Um,
right, let's veer from the John Jones talk here for a second though. Let's talk about something fun that's coming up. That's something that's actually happening, and that is
yeah.
UFC 306 at the Sphere.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait for this. I
Dude,
cannot wait for this,
the Sphere in Vegas, that thing is insane. So I can only imagine how a UFC event is gonna look.
bro. Bro, it is gonna
Dude,
be insane.
and that's
And you know they're gonna have drone footage through that thing
oh,
too.
it's gonna be
That's gonna
wild,
be
bro.
thick.
It's gonna be a
That is gonna be
cinematic
sick.
masterpiece.
Absolutely.
And Dana White's been quoted as saying that this is gonna be his love letter to Mexico, the Mexican people, and the history of combat sports in Mexico, because this event falls on September 14th, which I believe is 2 days before Mexican Independence Day, which is on September 16th. Quote me if
Yes,
I'm
sir.
wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it'll,
Quote me if I'm
I
wrong.
know. I mean, the way people do it nowadays, why not? People
Hey,
quote
fair enough.
anything.
Yeah. You get
But
quoted when you're wrong more now.
allegedly.
But
But
I do think
yeah,
it's awesome that Dana is showing like it's awesome that they're doing the Mexican Independence Day card at the Sphere for the first time. And he said probably the only time.
yeah, like because I don't know how much money, but I know they're dropping a bag on this though, bro. Dropping a
Well,
pretty penny. So you
yeah,
know
well
how,
that I was gonna say that gate is gonna break some records, by the way.
oh, bro, I can only imagine how much the nosebleeds are. Easily 1,500.
Oh, easy.
Easy,
Easy.
easy. But the NFL draft was just held at the Sphere, and they had their effects and everything. Or not
NHL.
NFL, NHL, my bad.
Yep. The
NHL
NFL
draft.
draft was in Detroit, bro.
Hopefully the first of many in Detroit
Absolutely.
for multiple sports.
Hell yeah.
That's a whole nother side conversation though. But
Yeah.
NHL draft was at the Sphere and they had a bunch of visuals and stuff, the order of the draft and everything. And Dana White said he's what they're gonna do at the Sphere with UFC Noche. I think that's what they're calling it. It's
Mhm.
gonna make it look like, kids playing with crayons.
That's crazy because I don't know if you saw any videos of the
Oh, I
NHL
did.
draft in there. Yeah.
I did. So I'm very excited to see what comes out of it, and especially excited to see what kind of card we get because nothing's been announced yet. Which
Yeah.
and we're what 2 months away.
hmm
So I'm ready to hear who we got. I know just over the past year, I've heard Dana White say on podcasts how, just about every Mexican fighter is going to be on that card.
hmm
But I'm still curious to see what, the headliner is going to be, how these main card fights are going to be looking. I've heard, your favorite fighter, Suga, Sean O'Malley, is rumored to be fighting Marab on that card.
I
Uh,
doubt that happens.
you don't think
I
so?
No, I don't think so. I feel like that's going to be its own card. You
Yeah.
can't have that. You can't have that be the main event on Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah.
Um,
Trying to think what would be though the main event.
I don't know, man. Like, because Ilia Taporia is he
Spain.
from Spain?
Spain. And
So
I still don't that's the other
I
thing
don't
is
see that either.
yeah.
And like McGregor and Chandler, it's not going to be McGregor.
Honestly though, that's the one where I'm like, if it's gonna be, a non-Mexican fighter headlining it, it's gonna be Conor.
Probably. Diego Lopez and Aljamain Sterling. I'm cool with that being on the card, but that better not be the main event.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
If if I had to guess, it's probably like either main event or co-main is gonna be Alexa Grasso because she's a Mexican fighter. She won on national or they drew. Did you say drew or drawed? No, it'd be the fight was a draw last year on Mexican Independence Day. And Valentina Shevchenko had some things to say about that I cringed at. Valentina is one of my favorite fighters too, and I did think that she won that fight. But to say that on a mic is wild. Um, and you can look up what she said because I'm not going to repeat it.
But we'll do,
Uh,
we'll do.
but yeah, I don't know. It's weird that this event is this big and we don't have a main event for it 2 months out. That's a little concerning.
I'm guessing we hear something within the next few weeks. Like
I mean,
I
we
don't
have
think we
to.
go through the month of July and nothing is said. I don't think that happens.
Well, and it's also too like just because they haven't announced a main event doesn't mean that there isn't one.
Right, right. I'm sure they got their thing planned out. It's just a matter of when they want to announce it. But you never know with the UFC. There's so many moving parts, so many changes throughout the days, so many last minute changes to fights, who's
Yep.
fighting, who's not. It's a crazy world. It'd be crazy to be a part of, like being a matchmaker in that. Could you
Oh, dude.
imagine?
I feel like
It'd be
that
what
seems like it seems like it'd be the easiest job ever.
I don't know about easiest though,
Or
because
not easiest, but like one
it
of the most fun jobs to be like, all right, Alex, get in here. You're fighting John Jones.
I would
Sign it.
say, yeah. But on the flip side though, like when a guy pulls out, then you gotta be like, all right, who's training? Who's in camp right now? Who's
Yeah,
ready
I
to
guess.
fight? And you gotta make
All
those
right.
calls and try to juggle that, especially if it's on a time crunch. Like who stepped in on a week's notice it was a few weeks ago at one of the cards. But it was like on a week's notice the dude stepped in because that fight had so many different changes to it.
Damn it. Was
Because
it Anthony Smith?
it was originally supposed to be Carlos Ulberg versus who was Carlos
Jamal
supposed to?
Hill?
Yes, yes. And then I forget. Didn't Hill pull out and Ulberg pull out?
Yep. So it was Anthony Smith and man, I can't remember the guy he fought. You might have to look that one up.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but I just remember it was on a week's notice the guy stepped in. He ended up losing, I remember that, but still to like step in on a week's notice is insane. But to
Yeah,
be
for
a
sure.
to be a matchmaker in that situation, trying to make that work and put something together, like that's the flip side of that job where it's like, ah, shoot, man, stressful as heck.
Well, and Dan Ige too. Dan Ige stepped in on 3 hours notice.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh well, no, because the Oldberg and J Jamal Hill fight, that one did somebody did step in late notice for that one, but no, Dan Ige, it was like the co-main event, and he
Yeah,
stepped in on
yeah.
super short notice. It's
I
like
think
it was 3 hours notice.
that was for the same card though, because that
Yeah, it
fight
was. It was.
that fight wasn't originally supposed to be the co-main. It was supposed to be the Allberg and Hill, then that got changed around. And
Mhm.
then the Diego Lopez and Dan Ige fight ended up taking place of everything for the co-main. There are so many different changes to the co-main. Moral of the
Was it
story.
Diego Lopez that fought Dan Ige?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Diego won by decision.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
Man,
I can only
that Conor guard really fell apart,
it
didn't it?
did, dude, because you had the main event fall apart and then you had the co-main event fall apart. And it's like I can only imagine. But I mean it was still crazy.
The Sean O'Malley versus Marab fight, that one is a fight that, as a Sean fan, like, I have all the confidence in the world in Sean, but that is a really tough matchup for him. Because if Marab can get in on the inside, like if he can get him down, Marab is relentless. He will shoot 50 takedowns in a fight and get your ass on the ground. And he's quick. He's a good striker too. And I don't want to spend too much time on it, but that is a fight that when it does happen, I am going to be glued to the TV, edge of my seat the entire fight. And I think Sean can win. I'm not counting him out. I think he can win. He's that good of a striker. He is a sniper, and he strikes in a way that nobody else in the UFC really does. Ilya Taporia and Max Holloway. I don't know why, but I just feel like Max is going to run through him. I don't know why. Because Ilya is a great boxer. Ilya is scary, and there is cement in his gloves. But I just feel like Max is just, come on, man. Like,
I
that
hope
UFC 300 thing, I think Max would beat John Jones right now, dude.
I hope Max goes and gets his because he deserves it.
Yep.
I've been a fan of Max
Hmm.
for a long time, and to finally see him, I
Yep.
mean, he's always gotten love, but to get loved at this level, like it's been
Yep.
awesome to see.
Absolutely.
And so many people were
And
counting
who
him out
knows?
before that Gaethje fight. So many people, literally anybody you talk to, they were like, "Nah, Gaethje's gonna walk right through him. Gaethje's gonna handle his business." And mm, Max did not let that happen.
Well, and it really speaks to, I mean, just how good Max looked in that fight. It and how good he's looked in every fight he's been in since the Volk trilogy. That really just shows like how great Volkanovski was when he was at the height of his powers. Because in that third fight, he made Max look bad. That's the only fight I think Max has ever looked bad in.
Hmm.
So that really does just kind of speak to like how great, because Max is just, I mean, and he's at an all-time level right now. That because there was no question in that Gaethje fight. Max dominated that fight. I did you see that it won fight of the year?
It won fight of the year?
It was either nominated or it won. I don't I don't necessarily agree with that, only because Max dominated that fight.
So you
I
think
would say it's knockout of the year for sure. Maybe even knockout of the freaking century. I would say the two knockouts that are fighting for that right now is Leon Edwards when he fought Kamaru Usman and knocked him out with like 10 seconds left, and Max knocking out Justin, UFC 300. Those are like the two best that I can think of.
so? Even though Justin knocked Max down for the first time, you don't think that had any weight in it being the best fighter or best fight of the year?
No, because I think that's one moment out of a 5 minute pretty good. I wouldn't necessarily say domination, but like definitely handled his business.
Okay, okay. And shout out to Israel Adesanya and his knockout against Alex Pereira.
Yeah, that one was great, but it's more just about the timing with the other two that I mentioned. I mean, Max's especially was literally at the last second.
Max's is the greatest knockout I have ever seen,
It's
bar
probably
none.
the greatest knockout ever.
The second greatest knockout I've seen is probably Conor McGregor's on all those in 13 seconds.
Ooh, yeah.
Because you had a year of buildup for a champion that didn't hasn't lost in about a decade, I think it was at the time. For him
Yeah.
to lose in 13 seconds after all that buildup, all the tours, press conferences, trash talk, everything, to lose in 13 seconds, dude, that is insane and unheard of, and probably will never see that again.
Well, and that just again, it just speaks to how locked in and how high of a level that Connor was at then. And like with the mental side of the game too, because Connor was getting people's heads so like you just said it, somebody that hadn't lost in 10 years, like you would assume that that means because they're smart and they know how to fight and they know how to win. And Connor got in Aldo's head so much, he just sprinted at him. Like he just ran right at him. Connor knew what he was gonna do in the freaking dressing room before the fight.
Mhm. It's crazy, man. Crazy stuff. But let's transition to the
Yes, sir.
NBA, more specifically our Detroit Pistons. There you are. I was wondering what happened to you.
My
He
phone
said
got knocked over.
he said we're done with the UFC. I'm out. Peace.
I'm out.
Cade Cunningham, bro.
Big bang!
He's gone again.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
I love it, man.
That big old money bag.
He officially signed his rookie extension, 5 years, 224 million. I think it has the chance to become 226 after he reaches certain requirements in the contract, but that is insane, dude. Congrats to Cade. Very happy
Did you see
for him.
his freaking? You see his face when he signed it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that. I just got paid $200.
It was
And
freaking
shout out to
awesome.
Trajan Landon for the or Langdon for the freaking three solid daps that he had on all three of our guys that signed. Three for
Oh
three in
man.
daps right now.
3 for 3 for Daps. I like that. Keep the count. Keep the count. Let's talk about another player, or one of the players that Langdon helped bring in, and that's Paul Reed. Got him off of waivers. Think
That
he's
was a
entering.
great pick.
Heck yeah. I think he's entering, or he's on his second season of his 3 year deal. That's worth 24 million. I'm game. I like that. I'm curious to see what our lineups are going to be going forward, but hey, we're still in the off season. Probably should not be thinking of lineups as much. I know last episode we talked a little bit about it, but for the most part, there may or may not be more movement coming along. You don't know. So there's no sense
Yeah,
in.
but in it's like he's a forward center. He's not like a just one position guy. So he could be a backup, but
Or a
it does
starter.
make you think about how he fits into the rotation, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Because
Because
you can go, you could start him, you could start Duran, you could start Stu if you wanted to. There's options.
but that makes me think and because you said something about another trade. It's like JB and Trajan have both talked about Jaden Ivey quite a bit in the last few days.
Yeah.
Have not heard too much about Jalen Duran.
I haven't heard much about Duran or Stu in the
Yeah,
past week or so.
yeah.
I've heard more about Cade, more about Ivy, how they want that to work and how they're going to make that work.
All
but
signs pointing to Asar being ready for the beginning of the season, so that's great. Um, it was really scary last year when the stuff came out about him
mhm.
having some blood clot issues and stuff like that. That was really scary, but I'm glad that it's looking like he's going to be good to go for the beginning of the season.
Yes, I'm very, very happy to hear that he's doing better because that stuff is, like you said, scary to deal with.
It is, and that's one of those where it's like you can't, there's no, there's not really like, training or recovery that you can do. I mean, there is, but
You're ready when you're ready.
yeah, yeah, that's a
You're ready when you're ready.
great way to put that. But it makes you think that now that we have B-ball Paul, like one of the bigs is I maybe one of the bigs could definitely go. So I don't know. I don't know. If I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on no more trades. But man, you never know. You never know.
You don't, but JB Bickerstaff, he had his press conference on, I think it was Wednesday, was his intro to the team. He had
Yeah, yeah,
he had some things to say about Cade Cunningham, quoted by Brandon Dent of Woodward Sports. Uh, JB was quoted as
yeah.
saying that he thinks Cade's a stud. I mean, there's not much he can't do on the floor, and their focus is making him one of the best two-way players in the league. And that last part is something I love to hear because you don't have too
I
many
do too.
guys as faces of the franchise who can play both ends of the floor anymore. You just don't,
Absolutely. You don't.
at least to a high level. So if you can get Cade to be a high level offensive player and a high level defender, sky's the limit, man. Matter of fact,
Absolutely.
you can go past that, past the
Yeah.
sky. The universe is the limit.
Yep.
Like you can do anything at that point
I like
because
that. It's definitely an interesting statement because it makes me think that the offense isn't just gonna be as heliocentric. Um,
mhm,
because
for this to work,
like
it can't be. There, you have too many skilled
exactly like
players. Too many skilled
it,
players. You have to figure out the best ways to use each and every one of them.
exactly. And if that sacrifice, like if that's how it's gonna be, if we're gonna spread the ball out more and it's not just gonna be Cade with the ball in his hands 75% of the game, I don't, then Cade's numbers don't jump a bunch, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Because if you're getting 22, 5, and 7 from a guy, like that doesn't have to go to 25. Like if he's given everything on offense and defense, that's all that matters. Like we need to, like you said, you have too many skilled guys on the floor at this point for the whole thing to just run through Cade to the point where in the fourth quarter he can't even stay in front of somebody because he can't feel his legs.
Yeah, there's. I don't think. Well, I would say I know just from hearing JB and what he had to say at the press conference about how he wants to build a competitive team and making guys have to earn minutes. Like no one will be handed anything. That's something you're gonna hear from coaches, but at the same time, it's like that's how it needs to be
Absolutely.
with all
And
this
it
talent.
seems like the right way to go about a thing that Monty Williams like kind of tried or acted like he was going to do last year. Um like with the whole Killian and Jaden Ivey thing. It's like, oh, we're going to make Ivy earn his minutes, but it's like but Kill's not really doing anything
Yeah,
to earn the keep.
yeah,
So it was just hypocritical and once guys sniff that out, especially grown ass men that are in the NBA, like
yeah,
you're gonna lose your locker room that way.
yeah. And that's the thing. Actions speak louder than words. So same thing with
Absolutely.
JB. We'll see what actually happens, but he's saying all the right things. Hopefully it translates to results during the season.
I think I think that last year almost needed to be like a little bit of a palate cleanser in a way. Like and not even a palate cleanser, but just like this is so awful
Hmm.
and just honestly laughable when you sit back and think about all the things that happened. I mean, your number five pick, who was like top three in rookie of the year voting the year prior, is now coming off the bench for a guy that doesn't even play in the league anymore. Like that, it just didn't make
Yeah.
any sense. But this team, and I know, like I'm trying not to drink the Kool-Aid too hard. This team
It's
feels
tough.
it's tough because this team feels different. One, because there's more talent. Like, first off,
There's
there's just
logical
more
talent.
there's more proven logical NBA talent on the roster for and experience for one. And two, it's like it was almost like it's just Troy's gone, Monty's gone. Gores doesn't seem like he's really trying to be as involved as he was with the whole Troy Weaver experiment. It just seems like, all right, we're at least nothing we've done so far has maybe been like, why the did we do that? There hasn't been a single thing. I think the only thing that I could think of is maybe the Ron Holland pick, but
No,
if that was
I'm
their guy, that
excited.
was their guy.
I'm excited for
Yeah,
Ron.
exactly.
Like I know on draft day I was like, really? We didn't get Klingon? Since draft day
Hmm.
though, I haven't even thought about Klingon, bro.
No, and
I'm
and
I'm ready
and
to
that's
watch
why I
Holland.
said like, hmm that's
I'm
why I said maybe that one.
yeah.
But speaking of
Breaking.
Holland,
Oh, okay.
oh, you
No,
got
no.
breaking news?
Well, just earlier today, about a couple hours ago now, it was announced that Luke Walton is going to be on the coaching staff for the Pistons.
Really?
Hmm. He
I
spent his
like that.
past 2 years in Cleveland. So we'll see how that
Okay,
goes. Luke Walton is a well-known name around the league. So hopefully he can
absolutely.
bring something to the team. But continue with what you were gonna say about Ron Holland.
I was just gonna say, speaking of Ron Holland, tomorrow we'll get to watch some Ron Holland. July
Yes, we will.
13th. We got
Yes.
uh, big names to focus there. Ron Holland, obviously Bobby Clintman and Marcus Sasser too, because Asar is actually not going to be playing, which I think is the right move.
Mhm.
I think you just let's not risk it. There's no point like that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
he can still hoop, he can still train, he can still get his reps in without playing in summer league. We all know how Asar plays. Yeah, it'd be cool to watch him come out and shoot like 40% from three during summer league or something like that, but that's not worth risking that. So I don't hate that at all, but I am very, very, very excited to watch this Ron Holland kid. I promise you I am.
Me too. I'm gonna be paying close attention to him. I wanna see what his deal is about, how he looks outside of that G League environment,
Yep,
and see if we can catch a glimpse of who he is as a player. It'll be fun.
absolutely. And Bobby too. But I'm gonna be
Mhm.
watching Bobby because we traded up and picked him. People before the draft had him as a first round guy.
Right.
I want to see if he's gonna earn some minutes this year.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to find out because, you know, you probably expect him to be in the G League most of the year, but if he can figure it out and produce out there, I don't see why he can't get some minutes. It's- the minutes should be wide open right now with this team.
For sure. Outside of, obviously the vets that we brought in, like
Yeah.
because it's not gonna be like Malik Beasley's not gonna like not dress or like sit at the end of the bench. Like that's not gonna happen.
Listen, we all know certain players that are going to get minutes. I'm just saying in general, like
Yeah, yeah, for
there's
sure. Like those reserve and like the third guys, off the bench or not third guys off the bench, but third at your position. Definitely those minutes are up for grabs. Even backups, really.
yeah. So they open tomorrow against the Sixers. That'll be fun to see.
It will. It will be fun to see.
But one thing that's Pistons related that I kind of wanted to briefly touch on. Our boy Sadiq Bey, he got signed to a lovely 3-year, $20 million deal to go to the
Uh,
Washington Wizards, where Troy Weaver is currently stationed.
ah,
Isn't it ironic?
It is, isn't it?
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Only everybody. I mean, which I get, like
I I don't care so much of how people view Sadiq Bey now, but when that trade happened for getting rid of him and bringing in James Wiseman, that is going to just always upset me when I think about it.
yeah, same.
Regardless of, Sadiq's a chucker, doesn't play defense, this, that, and the other. Well, however you may feel about him, he would have produced more in from that time to this time than Wiseman did. And that's not a shot at Wiseman. That's more so of the guy scored 50 points in an NBA game.
Yeah.
There was no reason to move on from him. But that being said, there wouldn't have been space for him on this roster anyway. So there's no point of getting upset.
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Grandma. Sorry, Grandpa. You, Troy Weaver. Thanks for that. Thanks, big dog. What was the point? What was the point, bro?
Oh, the world may never know. All right. Well, I got nothing else to add. I have some peach cobbler in the fridge that I would love to get to.
Hey.
So, do you have anything else?
Nah, just Pistons fans, if you're still hanging around, just try to keep an open mind this year. It's a completely new regime. It's a completely new team for the most part. We're gonna see what Cade's made of with good guys around him, and just keep an open mind. It's let's not be too critical if we come out and don't look perfect to start the season.
But also don't ignore the obvious like I tend to do every year. Don't
Yeah,
ignore the
that
signs. If
yeah,
something's not working, it's not working. Something needs to change.
absolutely, absolutely. But I think that the organizational changes that we've made, I think those changes seem like they would be made just from the moves they've made in the offseason. So
I
let's
agree.
just let's give them a chance. Let's not write them off in the beginning just because if we don't end up trading for another guy, or I know a lot of people thought we might walk away from this offseason with like Brandon Ingram or something. If we don't do that, if we just stand pat because we're at the salary cap threshold now, like we're good. We don't have to spend any more money if we don't want to. Um, let's just give them a chance. How about that?
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We are at 33 subscribers, going up one episode at a time. So in about what, 17 episodes, we'll get to 50.
Yeah, it only take 4 months.
Oh man. But please, if you have any topics you would like us to discuss or cover, please let us know.
Absolutely.
We will literally talk about just about anything. Like I say,
Yeah, just about.
just about. But yeah, thank you. I'm good. Jordan, you good?
I'm good, my friend. Thank you for listening.
All right, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Where we talk about
Who knows, bro? Who knows?
I don't know. I figured you'd probably cut it there.
Nah, I'm gonna keep this in too. I'm gonna keep it rolling.
Awesome.
Deuces.